Good evening, everyone. We'll call this meeting to order at 6:02 p.m. I'd like to humbly acknowledge the land in which you live, learn, work, and play. It's Treaty 8 territory, traditional lands of the Cree and Dene, and unceded territory of the Métis people. And for the record, we have Councillor Ball and Councillor McGrath joining us via Teams. And if, Councillor, you have your cameras on for voting purposes, it'd be appreciated. Thank you. If anyone in attendance wishes to address council on any of the agenda items, please register now at the Legislative Services desk to my right. We'll only be calling upon those who have registered to speak, and following your submissions, please remain seated for questions. And you must register prior to the start of the agenda, and you're given 5 minutes to speak, and please remain on topic. And before we adopt the agenda, does anyone wish to serve a notice of motion? Not seeing any. Can I have someone make the motion to adopt the agenda as presented? Councillor Grandison.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move that the agenda be adopted as presented.
Thank you, Councillor Grandison. Can I have someone second that motion? Councillor Banjoko.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I second the motion.
Thank you. Are there any other amendments to the agenda? I'm not seeing any. Call for a vote. All in favor? And that's carried unanimously. Thank you. Moving on to the consent agenda. Is anyone wish to remove any items from the consent agenda? Not seeing one. Can I have someone make the motion? Councillor Weigel.
I move that the recommendations contained in items 3.1, 3.2, and 3.3 be approved.
Thank you. Can I have someone second that motion? Councillor Grandison.
I second that motion.
I'll call for a vote. All in favor? That's carried unanimously. Thank you. Next up, we have bylaw number 23/024, which is presented for a second and third reading tonight. I'd like to invite Kelly Hansen, Organizational Support Services, to introduce the report, please.
Good evening, Mayor and Councillor. I'm Kelly Hansen, Director of Organizational Support Services, and I'm here this evening to present on the mentioned bylaw. On December 5th, following a presentation from Wood Buffalo Pro-Business Advisory Committee Chair and Administration, Council accepted recommendations brought forward by the committee, which included adjustments to the end date of the current committee members, as well as additions to membership of the committee. Subsequently, bylaw number 23-024 was approved for first reading. This evening, bylaw number 23-024 is before Council for consideration of a second and third reading. If passed, bylaw 23-024 proposed to extend the committee to December 31st, 2025, allowing the committee and administration to work towards advancing the recommendations which were brought forward. It also adjusts the membership to include additional seats for local business owners, representatives, one large business over 100 employees, one medium business 20 to 100 employees, one small business under 20 employees. To ensure the work of the committee continues, administration recommends the approval of bylaw number 23-024. Thank you. I'm happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Kelly. Do we have any questions from Council? I'm not seeing any, so thank you, Kelly. Do we have any delegates for this item?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We have no registered delegates for this matter.
Thank you. Can I have someone make the motion for a second reading? Councillor Grandison.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move that bylaw number 23/024 be in a bylaw to amend committee's bylaw number 17/024, Appendix M, be read a second time.
Thank you, Councillor Grandison. Can I have someone second that report? Councillor Weigel.
I second the motion.
Thank you. Are there any other discussion, debate points of Council? Not seeing any. I'll call for a vote. All in favor? And that's carried unanimously. Thank you. Can I have someone make the motion for the third reading? Councillor Stroud.
Thank you, Mayor Bowman. I move that bylaw number 23/024 be read a third and final time.
Thank you, Councillor Stroud. Can I have someone second that motion? Councillor Weigel.
I second that motion.
Thank you. Are there any other debate or discussion points and comments from Council? Not seeing any. Call for a vote. All in favor? And that's carried unanimously. Thank you. Can someone make the motion for the appointment of committee members? Councillor Weigel.
I move that the appointments as outlined in attachment 3 be approved effective immediately.
Thank you, Councillor Weigel. Someone second that motion. Councillor Brynjolko.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I second the motion.
Thank you. Are there any other comments or debate points from council? I see a call for a vote. All in favor? And that's carried unanimously. Thank you. As a reminder, members of the public present in the gallery who wish to speak on the agenda must register prior to the legislative services prior to the start of that item. Next, we have the report for the 2024 Public Art with Buffalo Work Plan. I'd like to invite Deanne Berge, Community Service, and Todd Hillier, Vice Chair, Public Art Committee.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Deanne Berge. I'm the Director of Community Services. With me is Todd Hillier, Vice Chair of the Public Art Committee. Sharon Heading, the Chair of the committee, was unable to attend this evening. We are presenting highlights from the 2023 Public Art Wood Buffalo program and the proposed 2024 work plan. The Wood Buffalo Public Art Plan was approved by Council on May 26, 2021, and provides a comprehensive framework for the public art program with strategic outcomes and defined program areas. The mandate of the public art program is to strengthen community identity and sense of place through the creation and development of public art in the region.
The strategies outlined in the public art plan aim to build a robust public art ecosystem, sustainable structures and supports, a vibrant public, visible Indigenous presence, and an overall connected community.
The Public Art Annual Work Plan is presented to Council to identify the projects and activities that will be undertaken by the Public Art Program. The work plan aligns with the Wood Buffalo Public Art Plan and supports its implementation. It's developed in collaboration with the Public Art Committee and the Interdepartmental Public Art Working Group. It includes information on in-progress public art projects and outlines projects to be initiated in 2024. And finally, it outlines the budget request from the Public Art Reserve.
The Acquisitions Program has a goal to acquire works of art that enrich communities and form a visual history of the region. 2023 highlights of this program include 2 artworks from the Intersection exhibition by artist Dan Cardinal McCartney, as well as a list of artists with a connection to Wood Buffalo and or the Treaty 8 territories was reviewed by the Public Art Committee and supported for acquisition of additional artworks for the Jubilee Lobby.
The 2024 work plan will continue to assess locations and look for opportunities to acquire artworks to fill spaces and increase the profile of artist talents in the region, and build a collection of artworks that have relevance to Fort McMurray Wood Buffalo and Treaty 8 territory.
The Artist and Community Program provides opportunities for local artists and the community to co-create projects with shared goals, themes, and or ideas. Highlights in 2023 include support to businesses for the Downtown Revitalization Incentive Program, specifically the Mural Stream. 3 organizations reached out to the public art team for support with the artist call, the artist selection, artist contract, as well as mentorship promotion. And there's also a pilot program being finalized that encourage a collaborative approach between artists and participating members of the community. Projects will be supported through 2 phases, including public engagement, where community and artists work to define project focus, as well as this development.
The Artist and Community Program launch will be in the form of an open artist call, where both artists and a community group will apply. This program is aimed at supporting small-scale, temporary art projects and will utilize a carry forward from a previous work plan in 2022.
Temporary works of art are created for a specific event or place or a specific occasion and time frame. These works are not considered part of the permanent public art collection. Some 2023 highlights was the Jubilee Gallery, featured 3 exhibitions curated by the Indigenous curator. These exhibits featured over 30 artists with connection to Wood Buffalo and Treaty 8 lands, which provided thought-provoking social themes that included Honor and Remember, which told the visual story of missing or murdered and exploited Indigenous people on Turtle Island from an Indigenous perspective. It featured 14 artists in a variety of mediums, from poetry, beading, textiles, tanning, leatherwork, and painting. Another one was Intersections, which delved into the realm of intersectionality and shared talents and stories from the 2S LGBTQIA+ community. 6 local artists were featured, along with artist Cardinal McCartney. And another one was They Love Each Other, which was a series of historical images that highlight connection, resilience, and intergenerational love, reminding us that Indigenous peoples are more than just the historical traumas of policies and systems. The exhibit also features a collection curated by Arts Council Wood Buffalo and The Journey Home, the Baby Moccasin project, which features homemade baby moccasins by local Indigenous artists in memory of loved ones who attended residential schools. Overall, the exhibits offered learning opportunities with workshop requests supported by the Indigenous curator, and artists were encouraged to share learnings and cultural practices with the public. Continuing on with the temporary art program, some additional 2023 highlights. The Street Banner program, which received a total of 83 submissions of a variety of mediums from individuals of all ages around the region. Submissions were received not just from Anzac and Fort McMurray, but also from Fort Chipewyan, Conklin, and Fort McKay. New in 2023 was all entries were featured at the Kirshner Family Community Art Gallery over the summer months. 14 designs were selected, including 5 from rural communities. Program received 60% of the submissions from youth, anyone under the age of 18, and 18% of submissions were from rural communities. Keep on with the temporary art program. The other one was Graphic Wrap Call, which is an artist call for images to be used for the graphic wraps around municipal infrastructure like traffic cabinets. An amazing 550 images were submitted, with a selection panel working to finalize the 40 images that will be used. And a personal favorite of mine was the 7th Ignite event ran from October 13th to the 22nd, which had record-breaking attendance at Kiam Community Park. Theme was transportation, and the illuminated art exhibits, local entertainment, food vendors, and the ever-popular mini locomotive train were well received at the Kiam Park, hosting between 800 to 2,000 people nightly.
The 2024 work plan for the temporary art will feature the annual Street Banner program and continuation of the leased local artwork program for the Jubilee Lobby Gallery, and the addition of the Mural Festival, which is a new initiative with plans for multiple sites, with artist workshops and mentorship opportunities.
The Public Site Program supports the creation of permanent public art within the municipal infrastructure. Projects like these can take many forms, from a discrete sculpture to a functional element, or from a design of a building to the design of an entire infrastructure system in itself. Contemporary approaches that are being used more often are having an artist actually embedded in the design teams, public art residencies, as well as curator-driven projects. Highlights of 2023 include the Public Art Bench Program, which aims to strengthen the visual connection between rural and urban communities. This program has 2 benches being created, one in the rural community and then one in the urban service area. So far, we do have one the installation of one called Follow the Sun, which is by Kritsana Nawakan. One's at Kiam and another one's in Anzac. It's a beautiful piece. And there's another one being awarded for the Public Art Bench project for Fort Chipewyan, and it'll be a collaborative artist design project between 3 Fort Chipewyan artists.
The Public Art Bench program will have an art call which will be developed for Fort McKay and the Fort McMurray project in 2024. The Public Art Committee, along with the Regional Advisory Committee on Inclusion, Diversity, and Equality, will support a project with an equity, inclusion, and diversity theme in 2024. And finally, the Saunderson Pressure Reducing Station will have the addition of artwork for an exterior enhancement in 2024. There was $444,000 allocated to culture and social development during the 2024 budget meetings. These funds will be transferred from the Public Art Reserve for the 2024 Public Art Work Plan. This includes $20,000 for the acquisition program to enhance municipal facilities through the acquisition of artwork that is representative of the artists with a connection to the region. $139,000 is for the temporary art program, which includes a street banner program, lease program, and the mural festival. And finally, $285,000 will support the public sites projects. That includes the Public Art Bench project in Fort McKay, the Equity, Inclusion, Diversity project, and the Saunderson Pressure Reducing Station. The Public Art Committee reviewed the work plan at the November 8th, 2023 meeting and passed a motion to recommend the adoption of the 2024 Public Art Work Plan. The administrative recommendation is that the Public Art Wood Buffalo 2024 Work Plan, Attachment 1, be accepted as information. That concludes our presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Berge, and thank you, Todd. Thanks for all you do with the Public Art Committee, and it's something we're super proud of in this community, is our art in the community, and Ignite is one example that residents are still talking about. That was probably one of the best things I've ever seen in the downtown area, so thank you and congratulations on pulling that off this year for you and the whole committee. Do we have any other questions from Council? Councillor Dogar?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, for giving me. Madam, thank you very much for the nice presentation. I just want to know that there was going to build up a new building for the arts in downtown area. Is there any progress or anything about that?
Through the chair to Councillor Dogar. So that building is being built by Arts Council of Wood Buffalo. So that's separate from this work plan. That's a separate organization from us.
Okay. Thank you.
Councillor Stroud?
Thank you, Mayor Bowman, and thank you for the presentation. I'm pleased to see the sister benches are going forward for Fort Chipewyan and Fort McKay, and that a sister bench is part of the public gazebo park in Anzac. You said that was called Follow the Sun. And who was the artist, Todd?
Yes, Follow the Sun, and the artist is, I do apologize if I'm butchering the name, Kritsana Nawakan.
Okay. So just wondering, going forward, is there plans for Gregoire Lake Estates, John Bay, and Conklin?
Go ahead.
Through the chair to Councillor Stroud, the intention with this program is to have every rural community. So we're on number 4 right now.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Stroud. Councillor Banjoko?
Thank you, Mayor Bowman, and thank you for the presentation and all the good works. I'm wondering if we have some of these plans will be extended to the uptown. I'm sorry if I missed it, but I haven't seen much of whether it's the bench or which mirror program. I thought mirror program was actually downtown revitalization part, but
Yes, thank you. So there are spots. You got your hand up, Lance. You want to go ahead? Oh, okay. There are spots. So there are mural spots for the downtown revitalization project.
Okay.
But there's also programs that are available to other parts of the municipality. There are some spots that are being worked on for uptown. I know there's a couple areas that are being discussed as well. So it's not just limited to downtown, and it is going to be expanded to other regions. Of course, the rural communities as well as other sections of the urban service area.
thank you. That would be great. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Banjoko. Councillor Boussier?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor Bowman, through the chair to Todd or Deanne. The mural that was on the old Wolf Taitinger Red Cross building, Do we know where that's going to be put now that the building came down?
Through the chair to Councillor Bussier. So that was always intended to be a temporary mural. It is digitalized, so we can put it up in anywhere. We're working on where it can go. We have a couple ideas, but we're having just a few challenges that we're working through. But it is intended to go back up.
Okay, thank you. And then just a follow-up question. I know you had shown some of the litter boxes or refuse boxes there that were wrapped. Is there any idea? I believe there's other ones that are not wrapped. Is there discussions about maybe wrapping some of those and maybe some of the boxes that maybe are not owned by the municipality? I don't know if you can get permission from ADCO or to wrap some of those.
Through the chair to Councillor Bussier, it's a very popular program, and our intention would be to wrap as many boxes as possible. So we are working through that. There are some that we don't own, but some of those companies do have an interest in wrapping their boxes as well. What tends to happen is people or individuals that do graffiti, if they do that thing, they don't do it on other people's art. So wrapping the boxes is a way to stop that happening. So we're working on that to see how far we can spread that through the community.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Bussier. Do you have any other questions from council? Not seeing any. Thank you, Deanna. Thank you, Todd. Sorry, 1 second. Councilor McGrath, go ahead.
Thank you. Through the chair, Deanne, thanks for the presentation. Todd, as normal, thanks for all your involvement in the arts over the years. We agreed twice on something in last 30, but appreciate all the volunteer you do to bring the arts alive, because it certainly makes for a better community. I'm just wondering, I know the funding that we put in place a few years back, is it still, Deanne, 25% of the capital request that gets socked away for the arts?
Through the chair to Councillor McGrath, that's correct. It's 0.05% of all infrastructure capital projects.
Okay, and we're still in good stead with that. Like, we have some takeaways for some other projects that might come up.
Through the chair to Councillor McGrath, the Public Art Reserve is in a good state, and the Public Art Committee is working through on spending that over the next 5 years.
Okay, but just so you know, through the chair, Toski, we put that in place when we're spending probably anywhere from a quarter to 400 million a year. So we have some opportunities. So appreciate your work, guys. Thanks for the report.
Thank you, Councilor McGrath. And again, thank you, Director Berge, and thank you, Todd. Do we have any delegates to this item?
We have no registered delegates, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Can I have someone make the motion? Councilor Grandison?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move that the Public Art Wood Buffalo 2024 Work Plan bracket attachment 1 bracket be accepted as information.
Thank you. Can someone second that motion? Councilor Stroud?
Thank you, Mayor Bowman. I second the motion.
Thank you. Are there any other debate points or discussion or comments from council? Not seeing. I call for a vote. All in favor? And that's carried unanimously. Thank you. Next, we have the agenda, which is my motion, formalizing the community ranks program. So I'll let Councillor Weigel take my chair.
Thank you, Mayor Bowman. The next item on the agenda is item 6.2, which is Mayor Bowman's motion regarding formalizing the community ranks program. Mayor Bowman, can you please read out your motion? I'm going to try.
Thank you. Thank you, Deputy Mayor Weigel. I move that administration bring forward a policy that formalizes the community rinks program that will allow homeowners to construct temporary outdoor rinks on or directly adjacent to their property using municipal lands. And that in the interim, administration work with the residents that currently have community rinks constructed on municipal lands to ensure public safety. And that administration focus enforcement activities regarding community rinks to issues of public safety, disrepair, or property damage until such time that a new policy has been considered by council.
Thank you, Mayor Bowman. Can I have a seconder for the motion? Oh, we're going to figure this out one day. Thank you, Councillor Banjoko.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. I second that motion.
Thank you, Councillor Banjoko. Mayor, would you like to speak to your motion?
Thank you. More than 2 years since I've been in office, and before that, this has been an issue across municipality. We have a lot of land that we actually created fire breaks and green spaces that community members have been using to make rinks, and a lot of them are very well constructed. They're very well done. They've taken safety into consideration, and with the minor hockey is probably one of the biggest sports programs in our community. And we see, we have a lot of outdoor rinks, probably more than most communities do. Municipality provides, but if you go around those outdoor rinks after school in the evenings and weekends, there's a lot of older kids, there's a lot of adults playing in those rinks. It's not safe for little kids. So a lot of the community members, what they've done over the past few years is created these small rinks in their backyards or in the green spaces behind the property that's not being used. And that ability for those kids have actually grown from playing in their backyards to moving on to playing in hockey in the minor hockey programs. And we see in our community we have a twin rink going up in the Dickensfield area because of lack of ice that was available for the community. So even if parents wanted to book ice, that ice isn't available to book. I passed out to all my council colleagues 2 letters of recommendation supporting this. One is from Danny Hodgson, former NHL player and local resident. Very well-written letter. We thank Danny for what he's done and just what he's done for this community, putting us on the map. And the other one is from former NHL player Mark Hardigan, a long-term resident and a well-respected member of the community that one of those 2 men there both played in the NHL and both have children that are experienced in hockey, and they like to see these programs go forward. I also have a podcast from Wayne Gretzky that I won't play, but Wayne Gretzky does go on to say that his father had the best lawn because of his outdoor rink that he had, and you can watch that podcast. So Wayne Gretzky endorses this. So you have Mark Hardigan, Danny Hodgson, and Wayne Gretzky. So I think we need to put this forward. And with that said, when we look at the bylaws, Grand Prairie actually has the same program, but Grand Prairie actually provides the construction material to the residents. They bring that material, drop it off, you put the rink together, and in the spring, you take it apart and they'll come pick it up each year. They inspect it to make sure it's safe, and they've actually given out guidelines to how you build it. Lloydminster has a program, same thing, you can build it, but you build it yourself. They come by and inspect it, and you dismantle it in the spring. And if you go back, and I thank our administration for actually digging up some history of the community. As everyone knows, the Frank Lacroix Arena is named after Frank Lacroix, but something that I just learned recently, the mini ice at Mac Island is the Terry Conroy mini ice was named after. Now, Terry Conroy is known in this community. Each year he would build an outdoor rink for the community members and for the kids to play in. And some of those kids have gone on to play, as you know, in minor hockey in this community, AA, AAA, and on to the even the NHL. So I think with those mini rinks that people are building their backyards and building the municipal spaces, that's something that's our heritage as a northern. We talk about being a northern community, and these are little kids that are playing on these rinks. These aren't. They're not disrupting anything. They're small children that are playing. My neighbor has one in his backyard. Last night was minus 24, and the little kids were out there playing all night, laughing, giggling, playing all night. And their dad was up 7 o'clock this morning when I was, shoveling the snow off so they could play on tonight. So I think this is something that is, it's something in our role as government, not to block people doing things, but help people do things safely and allow people the freedoms to enjoy the northern Alberta that we are. Most of our seasons in this community is winter. So the more we can enjoy it, the more we can get out. I think this is the right place to do it, and I definitely hope my colleagues can support this motion.
Thank you, Mayor Bowman. Understanding we may have members of the public who wish to speak to this item, we'll now move to delegates. Do we have any delegates for this item?
We do, Deputy Mayor. We have 2 registered delegates.
Awesome. Thank you. We'll begin with Kyle McConnell, please. If you could come forward, state your full name for the record, and just a reminder that you have 5 minutes to speak. Following your submission, please remain seated so we can have members of the council ask you any questions. Just press the button there right in front of you there. I think so. Yeah.
Hello, my name is Kyle McConnell. Good evening, everyone. I'm here on behalf of the children in my neighborhood. My name is Kyle McConnell. I was born and raised in Fort McMurray. I have no children of my own, but I did grow up on outdoor rinks. Partly because of that, I played 3 years of junior hockey, and I got to see most of Western Canada before the age of 20 for free. I'm in front of you today because there needs to be some amendments to the community rinks program. Obviously, the rink should be on a green belt or green space with adequate room that does not interfere. But building requirements make it near impossible to construct an ice rink until after the new year with the new guidelines. Precipitation factors, you cannot control the weather. We have had a very warm November and December with very little snowfall for the last 2 years. Children from 2 to 10 cannot just go learn how to skate on public ODRs like Sandy said. They are always filled with older kids and adults who are shooting pucks and playing shinny. Today, in the RMWB for any age, minor hockey will cost $900 per child per year. Gentlemen's League is $400 per adult for ice time, referees, and the same insurance. This pushes parents away to the alternatives. When this rink was built in previous years, which mind you will never know it was there during the summer months, it created a safe place for children on the street to try hockey for the first time, and because of that, Andy's rink, there are multiple kids now playing RMWB minor hockey. We live in a remote northern community. I'm here asking you to understand that this does not hurt anyone. It does not affect anyone. It takes a simple spring cleanup in hours. It gives kids a reason to go outside and play during long, boring winter months, which we know is good for mental health. Other Albertan municipalities have had a different approach than the RMWB, and we have some of it here for you to read. Lloydminster has a reasonable neighborhood rinks application program along with many other programs. You can find it on their website. The City of Grand Prairie actually supplies boards to the neighborhood rink applicants. And I'd just like to thank you for your time, and I hope you guys look into it. Thank you.
Thank you, Kyle. If you can just remain seated. Do we have any questions from council? Mayor Bowman?
Thank you, Mayor Weigel. So, Kyle, you mentioned you don't have kids. How close is your house to the rink in your neighborhood?
I would say it's exactly 2 houses.
So it's pretty close. And the kids playing there, you work shift work, right?
I do, yes.
And does it bother you at all that the kids are out there playing, laughing, and?
No, not at all. It's actually never woken me up, or and even at night, kids are in bed at 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, right? So It's never an issue with the actual bylaw itself, the noise bylaw.
Super. Thanks, Colin. Yeah, and I appreciate you coming forward, especially someone doesn't have kids, to come forward and give that perspective as well. Thank you.
For sure. It's just, being born and raised in this town, I've always had my heart in this town, and it kind of bothered me when you can't really see kids play because there's no ability to build a rink, because the ultimate problem is the snow, right? Like, if you can't build till January, what's the point of building it, right? And there's other people I know in town. I know multiple people. I played hockey in this town since I was 3 years old. So I just know that Andy and I are not the only ones, and there's been a lot of voices and a lot of text messages my way. So thanks for listening.
Thanks, Kyle.
Thank you, Mayor Bowman. Councillor Dogar?
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. My question is to the presenter, Mayor Bowman. Is there any chances of children conflict, the neighborhood conflict on this issue?
That question's for me?
Any chances of conflict between children of the neighborhood or the neighborhood disturbance?
There's a rink.
Yeah, sorry. Councillor Dogar, can we wait for debate till after the delegates are done?
Okay, fine.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, CEO Hunter?
Excuse me, you mentioned, so through the chair, you mentioned that you couldn't build the rink until January? Because can maybe explain to me, sorry for my ignorance, I was not brought up with hockey, so I don't really understand it. But I don't understand why you can't build the rink until January. I don't know what the
Sure, Henry. So basically in the last 2 years, and even like Christmas this year, how many times did you actually shovel snow in this town, right? So if you actually look at the guidelines, if you actually look at the guidelines that are on our website, it's explaining that you can't use any material whatsoever. So the biggest issue that we have right now is we can't use the tarpon boards like other communities use. It's basically saying you're not allowed to. So what our biggest problem is we can't build until there's snow, but we haven't had snow until after the new year, so we only really have January and February if we were following the guidelines. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, I think I got a better idea from that. So our guidelines prevent you from doing that. My concern is the cleanup afterwards. That's like at the end of the season. What happens then?
That's a great question, and this is actually something that I wrote that I didn't read out. But what my opinion is the people that are involved because of the application. So what you have is there's people that are building them without doing the application and trying to get away with it without going through the RMWB. But what we want is for everyone to be able to get the application and understand that when it's finished, you take the materials and you put it in your, like underneath your deck or something like that. And the actual fines from the bylaws would be because you didn't clean up, just like somebody didn't clean up their backyard or a type of bylaw like that, where the fines come more from not cleaning up after not exactly having a rink.
Awesome. Thank you, CEO Hunter. Thanks, Scott, for that. Is there any other questions from council? Councillor Banjoko?
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. I just want to commend you again that you had created the time to come here and speak, even though you don't have children yourself. But thank you, and I commend you for that, and also for giving us the perspective that the noise isn't good to kill anyone, for sure. So thank you so much.
Yeah, so I mean, kids are going to play, whether they're making a fort or they're playing hockey, they're still going to make noise. So, I mean, whether they're wearing skates or they're wearing boots, it doesn't really make a difference, does it?
Yeah, and if they don't find a place to make the noise outside, it could also be chaotic in the house. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Banjoko. Any other questions from council? Seeing none, I want to say thank you, Kyle, as a dad of 4 boys, and for somebody to come up here and advocate for kids who doesn't have any. I just want to echo my councillor colleagues and say thank you. Thanks.
Thank you, too.
That's good. Do we have any other delegates for this? Can I call up Andy Moore, please? Thank you, Kyle. Just a reminder. Okay. Just a reminder, Andy, you've got 5 minutes to speak, and following your submission, just remain seated. And please state your full name for it, and just press the button. Thanks. Nope. There you go. You're live.
Hello, and my name is Andy Moore. I'm here to talk about the Community Rinks program. As Kyle just talked about, well, first of all, thanks, Kyle. As he just talked about our current program, we're not allowed to use building materials. So we need to, I think what Mr. Hunter was saying is, so currently we need to wait for snow. Our only thing that we can use is snow and water. So we need to wait for precipitation for snow to build borders, and then we have to spray it in with water. In the guidelines, it says we need to wait for multiple consecutive days of -7 degrees or below. As we all know, this year, it's not until the last week that it reached these temperatures. I've been building a rink for probably 6-7 years. I've had nothing but positive feedback from parents, kids, I've met many great people. Sorry, I get kind of worked up about this, but there's a lot of kids that can fight for this right. And because of people like Kyle and Mr. Bowman, they're fighting for these kids to be able to use these facilities. So yeah, all we're asking for is to be able to have a revamp of the program, to be able to use building materials, because this winter has been beautiful. The kids got 2 months of near 0 degree temperatures where they could go out, they could play. There's been multiple families come over with their friends. It's a great place for community members to get together. We've met many great people, children. I've had neighbors come up to me, their children seeing the rink, wondering if they could come play. We're now friends with these neighbors. Their children are friends with our children. My previous street, we've had, I think it's 5 kids that were of an older age that the first year they built the rink, the following year they all joined hockey. Their parents came up to me, they said, we did not grow up playing hockey. We didn't realize our kids had such an interest. But it wasn't until a rink was made available that they were able to know that they had this interest. As Mr. Mayor Bowman stated, there are communities around the same size as ourselves that have similar programs, but they allow building materials. For example, last year, as he said with the Wayne Gretzky podcast, the grass on the greenbelt was the greenest where the rink was. It's absolutely no harm. When it was the first opportune time, we had it taken down. You would never say there was anything there. And even during the year, we always have trash cans around, benches. We're meticulous about it because it's where kids play. We keep it clean, keep it tidy. There's no dangers. We've never had any incidents or dangers involved in it. It's close enough to our fence. We have lights set up, but there's also lights from our houses that illuminate the area. I just think that we lobby that we have a northern living community that promotes family, community involvement, and what better way to do it than kids playing outside.
Absolutely.
We cater to things like the Abyssinian pilot project with ATVs, which I think is great. It caters to adults. This is a program that caters to children. So yeah, that's pretty much where it's at. The only thing that we need change is just the ability to use building materials to let kids actually enjoy it for longer. So yeah, sorry, that's kind of all I have there. Is there any questions or?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Andy. I just want to start by saying thank you. I know you're a huge advocate for the kid. I want to thank you for the hundreds of hours that you put into coaching minor hockey, making sure that all kids have the ability to go. I've been there. I've seen your passion. Thank you for the rinks that you build. I know you put an extra emphasis on safety and making sure that it's available for everybody. And so just thank you for how you've shown yourself in the community and how you participate. So Mayor Bowman.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Weigel. And again, thanks, Andy, for everything you do in the community. I know I've known you for quite a few years through hockey, although I can't play worth mentioning, but I've seen you on the ice, and I thank you. I've probably seen more pictures of your rink that you build than I do most of the rinks in town, from the kids in your neighborhood, kids in the community, and I thank you for being inclusive of the Oilers and Calgary, being a Toronto fan yourself, of having those logos on your ice. How many kids do you think with your rink go through there in a week?
In a week, at least 30 to 50. I mean, there's kids there every day.
Yeah.
I mean, and I can't count how many times parents will call or message me or my wife and say, my kid has me drop, can they come over on the rink? Or how many times my children will be in the house and they'll look at the window and be like, oh, someone's on a rink, we're going to go out and play. It's countless. The kids play on 3 different hockey teams, and they go to school with classmates, and it's full all the time.
Super. Thanks, Andy.
Thank you, Mayor Bowman. Councillor Ball.
Thank you, through the chair. Hey, Andy, how you doing? Long time no see.
Hey, Ken, how are you?
I'm good. The mayor stole a couple of my questions and my comments because I won't beat you up for being a Leafs fan anymore. So, obviously, the current policy creates, I guess, some hardships for you to be able to build the rink. In your mind, what's the best scenario? What's the ultimate solution?
The ultimate solution for me would be similar to what Grand Prairie and them have. Not necessarily council or the city providing materials, but just allowing the use of building materials so that you're able. So we have a long winter. I mean, pretty much November on, we have below minus temperatures. We don't necessarily get the snow precipitation. It's a gamble each year. So if we were allowed to use building materials, we would be able to use a liner and boards and flood the ice, and kids would get a longer time to enjoy the rink and enjoy it when the temperatures are warmer for them, instead of having to wait until, like, this week would be the first time they'd be able to get out and use it, and it's minus 20 or colder, and they just spent all Christmas time out there with their friends in near 0 degree weather. So yeah,
right.
Sorry.
I'm thinking about timelines as well, because would it make sense that you would be able to start constructing it in, say, October 1st, and you'd have to take it down by, I don't know, pick a date, May 1st or something like that? My assumption is that the municipality would have to do some sort of inspection post-use and, of course, after the disassembly.
Yeah, I 100% agree. Beginning of October would work great if they had timelines, and also timelines on, after the winter, that you need to have it down, dismantled, everything removed by a certain date. And I mean, even periodic checkups for safety or whatever you guys need to have in place. We're looking to do this the right way without having to worry about, people calling bylaws because you're only allowed to use snow and water. And at the end of the day, it's just for the kids. So if we were allowed to use building materials and be able to construct it properly without hassle, that would be the ultimate goal.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, I absolutely support this. It's a wonderful idea, and totally respect everything you do for the kids here. Thanks, Andy.
Thank you, Ken.
Thanks, Councillor Ball. Councillor Banjoko.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Thank you, Andy. And it's been a pleasure to connect with you. And I also want to applaud you for speaking up, just from sharing, inviting people to come for public engagement, and you spoke your mind. And my conclusion is you are not doing this just for yourself, or maybe for any sort of financial gain. Am I correct?
There's absolutely zero financial gain. If anything, it costs a lot of money. Yeah, there's a zero financial gain.
Yes.
But no, like I built this rink even before, like, my oldest daughter is 8, and even before she was old enough to do it, I did it. Neighbors' kids enjoyed it. It's strictly just something to get the kids together.
It's amazing to see. I mean, when one sees commendable, selfless service to the community. So I applaud you, and we are neighbors. It might be too late for me to learn hockey, but I certainly am 100% on your side, and thank you for doing this.
Thank you for your support.
Thank you, Councillor Banjoko. Any other questions from council? Seeing none. Thank you, Andy. You can have a seat back in the gallery.
Thank you.
We'll move on to questions from council and debate. Are there any further questions of council, followed by debate points? Councillor Dogar.
Thank you very much, Deputy Mayor, for giving me opportunity. I had the question that such like games within the periphery of the house sometimes create noises, neighborhood problems. I hope and I'm going to present another motion also separate to make street or locality committees. That is a separate thing, but I think there would be some disturbance to the neighbors also. Mayor Bowman might have studied the motion, and probably he can comment better on it.
Mayor Bowman, would you like to respond?
Just to clarify, your question is about disturbance in the neighborhood, Councillor Dogar?
Yes, yes, yes. In one word, that is the question.
Yeah, and I think that will go back to noise bylaws. So any noise complaint from bylaw will be dealt with the same as any complaint would be. So if my neighbor on one side has kids playing hockey right now, it doesn't bother anybody at all. But if I have a neighbor in the back, close to, I was going to throw a Chief Butts joke in there, but he's not here. In the back, if there's a party at his house, it could disturb me, and I would call in a noise complaint. So there is bylaws for that. Maybe Kaylin would probably speak to that as well.
Thank you, Mayor Bowman.
And through the chair to Councillor Dogar, my answer is going to be exactly the same as Mayor Bowman's. We have some, yeah. We'll call bylaw.
Thank you. Is your answer question? Yes. No. You're good? Okay. Thank you, Councillor Dogar. Councillor Grandison? Oh.
Thank you, Acting Mayor. More of a statement than a question. I went to many communities and put in halfway houses and group homes that everybody said they didn't want them in our neighborhood. And the one thing that I always said to everybody, it's the same kids, just in a more controlled environment. It's the exact same kids that are there in the neighborhood right now, just in a more controlled environment. So just keep that in mind.
I agree. Thank you, Councillor Grandison. Yeah. Councillor Banjoko, I apologize. I turned off your mic, but you had a question or a debate point?
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Mine is just a comment of support for the motion. Is this the right time?
Yes, it is.
Thank you. I completely support this motion. I live in, like I said, my neighborhood. There's a rink that has been constructed year after year by Andy. So providing a safe, inclusive, accessible space for children is important to this community. I believe that we have the statistics that we are a community of growing. We have a lot of growing children. One of our councillors have 4 of those boys that need to be able to play outside. And one of the points made by Mayor Bowman is that we have, I think, long winter. Obviously, I will take note of the number of months more for obvious reasons. So I think it's about 5 months on the average that we have to, if care is not taken, we are all inside. So providing this kind of activities and space for children will help them not only for physical but mental wellness for not only the parents, but even not only for the children, but for the parents. And the added advantage to my own analysis is for a guy who has gone out for 10 hours shift, having a place where they could take the kids a walking distance or right behind their house is a good thing that we need to promote. And I've also asked one of the questions, which is they're not doing this. We are supporting people who are actually helping us and we are not paying them. I just want to put that out there so people can hear that this is something positive and we should do whatever we can to support and ensure, of course, not compromising our safety and also to be good neighbors and ensure that, well, if the noise is too much, they could get caused. But most people would love to even hear voices of kids play around. I would love to hear kids play around me. My kids are grown. So thank you so much. That's my...
Thank you, Councillor Banjoko.
Thank you.
And I just want to state before we go to vote that I am in support of this motion. I've got 4 kids, and the oldest being probably the older kids that take up the rink and want to practice at a high level, and I would. My youngest being the one that needs to develop and needs that area of safety and be able to go, as well as people are putting their hard hard work hours and money into it. I know, Andy, you pay for your rink that goes up, and you supply entertainment for, like you said, 30 to 50 kids a week that come over and continue to play. And so that goes beyond what anybody else, what we could say thank you for the kids in this community. And so it's people like you, and I know there's many others that do this. And so I am in full support of this. Thank you. Any other questions of council? Any other closing remarks, Mayor Bowman, that you have before we go to a vote?
Yeah, thank you, Deputy Mayor Weigel. Just in closing, I really believe in formalizing this community rings program. It fits in who we are as a northern region and embraces the winter that we have to deal with every year. It also further honors former residents like Terry Conroy and all those that helped build this community what it is now today, and takes into account the hard work and what they've done to build what community we enjoy today in this community in Fort McMurray. And also saying in formalizing a bylaw, it's not a free-for-all. It's something that's going to where a bylaw is taking safety into account, that the ideas will come back, and what we will do is monitor the safety and issue permits for this is what I would like to see. So again, thanks Andy, thanks Kyle, thanks to Mark Hardigan for his letter, thanks to Danny Hodgson for their letter, and as Councillor Weigel had mentioned his sons, I wouldn't feel safe on an ODR with his oldest son. So that's something to be said. So, and thank you again everyone for considering this.
Thanks, Mayor Bowman. Seeing no further questions, I'll call for a vote. All in favor, raise your hand. Councillor McGrath. Councillor McGrath. Okay, we might have lost one there. So I'll call for a vote. All in favor? And that's passed unanimously. Thank you. Mayor Bowman, you can now resume your chair.
Thank you, everyone. Next, we have the report on the Community Investment Program, FIN 220 Amendment. I'd like to invite Deanne Berge, Community Service, and Janelle Fleury, Community Partnerships and Initiatives, to introduce the report, please.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Deanne Berge. I'm the Director of Community Services. Janelle was not able to attend this evening. I am presenting an amendment to the Community Investment Program Policy, FIN 220. The Community Investment Program Policy outlines expectations and provides a basis for consistent decision-making for community investment. The Community Investment Program Policy, FIN 220, was approved by Council in July 2023. During the 2024 budget creation, administration identified that Section 3.3.5.12, which outlines that a maximum of 75% of the total budget is eligible for funding, should not pertain to subsidiary corporations or municipal facility operators, as these organizations provide programs and operate facilities on behalf of the municipality. Administration reviewed the consultant's report and the Community Investment Program Advisory Committee minutes and determined that the funding limitation was not intended for either subsidiary corporations or municipal facility operators. The administrative recommendation is that the Community Investment Program Policy, FIN 220, dated January 9th, 2024, as outlined in Attachment 1, be approved. That concludes my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Berge. Do we have any questions from Council? Not seeing, do we have any delegates to this item?
We have no delegates.
Councillor Dogar?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Madam, what's the budget for CAPs?
Through the chair to Councillor Dogar. So this particular report isn't a budget request, it's just an amendment to the policy.
No, is there not any set amount that we have kept in the budget? I think it is 60 million. I'm just confirming it.
Through the chair to Councillor Dogar, there is a budget for CIP that was approved during the budget process. This particular council report is about the actual policy. The next report that I present has a budget amount with it.
Okay, fine. How many CIPs are there? Non-profit and CIP, I think it's the same thing.
The community, through the chair to Councillor Dogar, the community investment policy is related to funding nonprofits. So it's not the same thing. The community investment policy lives within the municipality, and nonprofits are organizations within the community that can be funded through the CIP program.
How many total they are?
Through the chair to Councillor Dogar, I don't know the number of the exact amount of nonprofits that are in the community.
Fine, last time you told me 330. So why I asked this question was, maybe there are changes and some new coming and some going back. That's why, sorry for that. You know.
Through the chair to Councillor Dogar, no problem. There's always, there's a large amount of nonprofits. Not all of them are funded by the municipality. So for instance, a nonprofit could be within a school, but it's not funded. So as far as how many nonprofits we fund, I believe in 2024 we had around 107 applications.
Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Dogar. Do we have any delegates to this item?
We have no delegates, thank you.
Thank you. Can I have someone make the motion? Councillor Grandison?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move that the Community Investment Program Policy FIN 220 dated January 9th, 2024 as outlined in Attachment 1 be approved.
Thank you, Councillor Grandison. Can someone second that motion? Councillor Stroud?
Thank you, Mayor Bowman. I second the motion.
Thank you. Are there any other discussion or debate points of council? Not seeing any. I'll call for a vote. All in favor? And that's carried unanimously. Thank you. Next, we have the report on Community Partnerships Initiative funding allocation. I'd like to invite Deanne Berger to remain seated and to introduce the report.
Thank you, Mayor Bowman. Again, my name is Deanne Berge. I'm the Director of Community Services. I'm presenting a funding allocation request for 2024 in relation to the Community Investment Program Policy Amendment that was just approved. During the 2024 budget meetings, 3 organizations were negatively impacted by the limitation of 75% funding in Section 3.3.5.12 of the policy. Subsidiary corporations and municipal facility operators run facilities and/or provide services on behalf of the municipality. Lack of funding for adequate operations could impact the service levels provided. 3 organizations requested over 75% of their total budget in the 2 streams of municipal facility operating and subsidiary. Therefore, the administrative recommendation was less than their ask. Recognizing this oversight in the policy, administration brought forward the amendment that was just approved by Council. During the 2024 budget meetings, Council also approved an additional $310,264 for the Community Services Department to support the allocation of the requested funds to the subsidiary and municipal facility organizations impacted. The administrative recommendation is that the funds for the subsidiary and municipal facility operating grants be allocated from the Community Partnerships and Initiatives Branch 2024 operating budget as follows. Regional Municipality of Wood Buffalo Library Board, $224,917. Young Men's Christian Association of Edmonton, known as the YMCA of Northern Alberta, $52,097. And Fort McMurray Minor Baseball Association, 2009, $33,250. That concludes my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Berge. Do you have any questions from council? Not seeing any. Do we have any delegates?
No, we have no delegates, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Can I have someone make the motion? Councillor Grandison?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move that the funds for subsidiary and municipal facilities operating grants be allocated from the Community Partnerships and Initiatives 2024 operating budget as follows. Regional Municipality of Wood Buffalo Library Board, $224,917. Young Men's Christian Association of Edmonton, bracket YMCA of Northern Alberta, and bracket $52,097. And Fort McMurray Minor Baseball Association, 2009 at $33,250.
Thank you, Councillor Grandis. Can I have someone second that motion? Councillor Benjoko?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I second the motion.
Thank you. Do we have any comments or discussion points from council? I'd just like to say that I appreciate the new policy coming forward we brought forward, and also appreciate administration seeing a better way to do things and to make that change and to bring it to us. So thanks for all the work in kind of repairing this, Deanne. Do we have any other comments or debate points from council? Not seeing a call for a vote. All in favor? And that's carried unanimously. Thank you. So that concludes today's meeting, everyone. So thanks for joining us. Happy New Year to everyone. And Marcy Cho, Kinwis Compton, and thank you. And hang on, Andy. Okay, thank you, everyone.